Hey everybody, welcome back to Review a Day, episode number 182. I'm Leland, and thank you guys for joining me. The film I'm reviewing for you guys today is the new film from the Coen brothers, A Serious Man. Joel and Ethan Coen, hopefully you know who they are. No Country for Old Men, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Raising Arizona, Barton Fink, Miller's Crossing, tons and tons of really solid, great films. The Coen brothers are probably some of my favorite directors, and I absolutely love and I look forward to every single movie they release. This movie stars Michael Stuhlbarg, Richard Kind, Fred Melamed, a kind of cast of actors you've probably seen in things before, but you can't really figure out where you've seen them before. A lot of these people are character actors. Richard Kind, you might know from like Spin City or Mad About You. I fucking love Mad About You. What a great show that is. This movie, though, is centered around this guy named Larry Gopnik, who's a physics professor, and he's just kind of an average schmuck. He can't get a break in life. His kids are always bitching about the TV. His daughter bitches about the uncle being in the bathroom all the time. His wife is leaving him for a guy named Cy Abelman, which I think is great. Details like that are things you get in Coen Brothers movies. Cy Abelman. He's up for tenure. He's a professor and he's up for tenure. He might not get it because there's these anonymous letters that are defaming him and all this stuff. He's offered a bribe by one of his students. He's this guy who just can't get a break. His life kind of sucks. And it is a very simple story. It is very kind of Job-esque from the Bible. And every single movie the Coen brothers have ever made has the Coen brothers stamp right on the front. Like, I think you can watch a Coen brothers movies and in 5 minutes I would be like, this is the Coen brothers. This is clearly the Coen brothers. They have such a love of kind of everyman, everyday characters. They have a great love of dialogue that I think really shines through in every single film they've made. And this movie is absolutely no exception. And this film actually felt very personal. I think that this is a very personal film to the Coen brothers. It's set in Minnesota where they grew up. It's about kids going to Hebrew school. Entire passages of this film are in Yiddish, and it's a movie that it grapples a lot with faith and what the meaning of life and stuff like that. And considering I have no faith or anything like that, I always do find it interesting to see characters grapple with that on screen. I really like that a lot. But like I said, one thing I really dig about every single Coen Brothers movies are the details. And this movie, every detail is so completely deliberate. This movie is incredibly deliberate. I don't think anything was left up to chance. Even the smaller characters in this film, like receptionists or guys who call people on the phone, people you never actually see, have more character in them than just about anything you'll see all year long. The way the woman who's the receptionist walks, the way she shuffles is funny. And this movie is really very funny. It's the Coen brothers that has a wicked dark sense of humor. I actually didn't even think it was as dark as Burn After Reading. I think Burn After Reading was a darker comedy, but I think overall A Serious Man is a much more serious movie. And I think it bridges the gap between being a very funny movie and a pretty profound film really gracefully. Throughout the film, it's very funny. I would say half of it to 3/4 is very funny stuff. I loved watching the kids go to Hebrew school and try to get money so they can buy pot. I liked watching that kind of stuff. But at some point, the movie stopped being funny, and I don't remember exactly when it happened, and it became pretty serious. And I think the movie bridges that gap really, really well. And I think one of the reasons it does is because of the performance of Michael Stuhlbarg, who is really very stunning in this film, probably one of my favorite performances of the year. I believe he's a stage actor. He's a guy I really haven't seen in anything. The Coen brothers have a tradition of doing that, though, taking these actors like Javier Bardem, like a great actor who we really here in the States weren't familiar with until No Country for Old Men. Yeah, a lot of people had seen his Spanish films, but it was, you know, the Coen brothers took him and made him a star. And I think they've done the same with Michael Stuhlbarg here. Fred Melamed as Cy Abelman is fantastic in this film. The ending of this movie, I think, is going to throw a lot of people off. And I think a lot of people, sadly, won't like the ending to this movie. And if you don't like the ending to this movie, all I ask of you is to ask yourself why. Like, why am I having the reaction I am to the ending? Like, what exactly is it about this ending that I didn't like? And then just ask yourself why the Coens would do that. because I think it's so easy to say that these endings that are kind of ambiguous or don't necessarily wrap up plot points, but I think that the ending to this movie absolutely fits the film. I think had the ending been any different, I would have thought it was kind of selling out and wrapping up too neatly. But ask yourself why the Coens would do that. I think the ending of this movie kind of reminded me of No Country for Old Men, where I don't think people were expecting the movie to end, and then it does. But I absolutely applaud that, and I think the ending is some pretty profound stuff, and I think the Coen brothers have hit another home run. I give A Serious Man a 5 out of 5. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen all year long. Coen brothers at it again. Make sure you head over to nitpickit.com and check out the new episode of the Nitpick It podcast. Dampercast will be out on Sunday. I'll see you guys next time.